All right, Assembly Bill 953 presentation, and I'd like to invite Kim Slade, our police lieutenant, to come forward, please.
Yes.
I don't know, it says come forward.
I think you guys can sit down and go to the podium.
Stand here if you want. Thanks again, Salim.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council members, Lieutenant Slade with the Yuba City Police Department. So tonight I'm giving you the, informational brief on the. There you go. Better. For the Assembly Bill 953, which is Racial and Identity Profiling Act, which for an agency our size is mandated January 1, 2022. Obviously, AB 953 was enacted in 2015. The first agencies took place in 2018. So we're falling into that wave 4, which is the last wave, which is any agency that employs between 1 and 333 sworn peace officers. Some of the requirements, this requires the collection and reporting of certain stop data related to detentions and searches. So it's not related to every police contact that an officer may have. During the detention or search, the stop information's date, time, duration, location, reason, was the stop associated with a call for service, or was it self-initiated activity? Any action that may have been taken, such as a search, anything like that, citation, was there any contraband located or property seized based upon the result? So perception is exactly what it is. It's a perception. And the perception is perceived at that first initial contact with the person. It's not after somebody gives us an ID, after they identify male, female, white, Hispanic, anything like that. It's what the officer perceives within that first initial 10, 15 seconds of a stop. And then the requirement based upon the officer is the years of experience and the type of assignment that they're working. And when officers are reporting the officer is given a unique identifier that is only known to our administration and nobody else. So not even the state of California DOJ, they don't know who that officer is and who the information is associated with. Some definitions. So detention, so like we talked about before, is the seizure of a person, can be verbal, physical, or it can be actions. Search, it can be a person's body, property, any property under their control, pat down or consensual. And then a stop is defined as any detention or any interaction resulting in a search, including calls for service. Reporting requirements, so there's some unique things as we go into this as far as reporting requirements go. So you have multiple officers, only one officer submits a stop report. And then same with agencies. So if we have multi-jurisdictional cases or anything like that, it's the agency that's responsible for the investigation that's doing the reporting, not us. So there are some unique things there where we have like Net 5. So depending on where the boundaries are and who the case agent is, that's going to be determined on who's going to actually be doing the reporting. And then it says must be based on officer's perception, just like I talked about before. It's not after they find out the information, it's before they actually find out. So as we go into reporting information, a perception cannot be wrong. So even if I am standing there and upon the first perception, I might identify somebody as a male, and I make contact with the person and the person's actually a female, I still in my stop report identify them as a male because that's what my perception was. So some of the exceptions, things to think about, vehicle passengers, as long as I don't have any contact with a vehicle passenger, I don't have to report on them. So if I stop a car and my only interaction is with the driver, that's the only person I need to do a stop report on, not the other 5 or 6 passengers, 2 passengers, juveniles, anything like that, that are in the vehicle, I don't have to do. Large scale events, traffic control, things like that. Like if we're got coming up to Sikh Parade, I wouldn't have to do it on every single contact that I have, because otherwise that'd be 80,000 people I might be talking to in that given day. Routine security screenings, some of that we've found out that is a benefit to us. Routine security screenings will be very helpful for Troy. So when he's doing homeless things first thing in the morning or throughout the day, if he's just asking people to move along, that is not considered a detention. Mass evacuations, active shooter, DUI checkpoints, probation searches, and other things like that, those aren't reportable. Confidentiality. Per the Assembly Bill, officers shall not include any unique identifying information about themselves or the stop persons. So I can't identify anybody by a moniker. When I'm reporting addresses, I can't say I responded to 123 Main Street. I have to be more generic. Like an example of saying that I responded to the area of Main and Morton. So, and the reason for that is because they don't want people that are doing data searches to be able to search a residence or search a person to be able to go make contact with that person. So, and so some other unique identifiers, date of birth, address, California ID numbers, anything like that. Currently, DOJ provides a 4-form reporting report. So if you can imagine that every stop that an officer had to do would take 4 pages. With that, we saw that obviously that's very time consuming, and we have traffic officers that are making anywhere from 10 to 25 stops a day. So that would be filling out that many times. So what we did is we went out and did some research, and we secured Veritone Contact, which is a very user-friendly. We started using this October 1st of this month, and at this point, the officers have had nothing but positive feedback about it. It's very user-friendly. They're going through it, and on average, the officers are taking about 1 to 2 minutes to do a contact. The traffic officers, since obviously they're doing it more frequently, most of them are doing just a regular traffic stop in about 30 to 45 seconds. So, and when you're doing that anywhere from 10 to 25 times a day, it does make it streamlined. So the pricing on this is it's $100 an officer per year. So obviously we're slated for 68 officers, so that's the cost associated with it on an annual basis. So that's what I got. If there's any questions.
Questions from the council? So if they had to fill out the 4-page report versus the Veritone, how much is the savings in time? It sounds like it's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. I would say that if you had to go through and fill out these 4 pages every time, and even if you don't use the page, you need to make sure that when we do the submission that it has all 4 pages. So, you know, if you're having to do this by hand every single time, and I will honestly say that penmanship is a lost art. So that's another thing in reviewing these, that it makes it very, very difficult. So if I have to kick them back or I have to do all those things, obviously the software makes it much easier. You're talking it cuts it at least in half, if not more.
Plus the storage of the paper.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
If I may, sir.
Sure.
Sir, obviously the Veritone, it makes the process a lot easier.
Yes.
However, the concept behind it all, I've got a little bit of an issue with, and that's not on you at all.
Absolutely.
A lot of this stuff we track, who you stop, who we stop, who we don't stop, well, I should say why you do it, their race, their gender, their ethnicity, all this stuff, right? So that in theory, that all that information goes into a database somewhere, so someone can evaluate to see if you're being targeting certain people or profiling certain people or being improper in your contacts.
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that being said, whenever I read this information or I see these stats out there, it seems to me that when you read them, everyone is assuming that the officer is a white male. Not true. Is there anything built into this process that will clarify that?
No.
No. Thank you very much. That's unfortunate.
Yes.
There we go.
All right, Lieutenant, thank you. Good information. Did you have something?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add, good point, Councilman Harris. I didn't see it from that perspective, but I've learned that.
It's ridiculous how they
Yeah.
do that.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that forward. I didn't think of that, and so I appreciate that, because seeing the people that work for our city, I see variety. How safe is this software, for people getting into it or breaking into this software? How's it connected into our system?
It's connected, we have access through a third party. So it's the information is stored in the cloud and it's processed through DOJ. So whenever we take in the information, we screen, it goes through our screening process. After we're done and we say everything looks good, there's no unique information in there. The officers have filled out all the information. We send a direct file to DOJ. And
Okay,
then DOJ obviously accumulates it all and puts it up in their annual.
awesome. So do you review it before it goes? Are you the person, the contact? Okay,
Yes, there's 3 of us at this point that are reviewing it.
okay. Thank you for the information.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, sir.